Okay. So let me share my screen again. So I missed the recording for a few minutes. Essentially, what we discussed was a recap that how there are four problems in life: Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, birth, death, old age, and disease. And we revised that how there are three miseries in the material world: Adhyatmik Klesha, miseries related to one's own body and mind; Adi Bhautik Klesha, miseries related to other living entities; and Adi Daivika Klesha, that means miseries due to natural disturbances caused by the demigods like floods, cyclones, too much hot, too much cold, all those disturbances, natural disturbances, earthquakes, all those things. And then we discussed how we revised how we are a spirit soul, we are not the body. And based on the four categories of evidences, scientific evidences we proved. One is common sense, near-death experiences, reincarnation research, and based on the presence of consciousness. Those are the four areas we discussed. How we can prove that we're a spirit soul, not just this body only, like that. Then we talked about briefly about reincarnation. How when we leave one body, we go to next body. Body next body is like leaving a shirt and wearing new shirt tomorrow morning, like that. Similarly, spirit soul at death leaves one body and goes to another body. That takes another gross body. But the subtle body goes with this spirit soul. What is the subtle body? Subtle body is comprised of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So we as a soul have one body that's called subtle body, that is mind, intelligence, false ego. On top of it, we have a gross body that is made up of five elements of nature: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. The body that we're seeing now is the material gross body. So the gross body we're leaving behind when we die, but the subtle body will go carry the soul and place it in another body again. Depending how which body we get depends upon the kinds of desires that we have unfulfilled, and also how much we deserve based on what we did. For example, I might desire to become a king in the next life, but I need to also deserve, I should have done some good punya, good piety to be able to enjoy as a king next life. So that's also basically our desires, unfulfilled desires, and our karma. That means what actions we done. These two determine our next body that we get. So so here in the picture, one person is driving cycle first, motorbike next, car next. It looks like a private jet, looks like a flight. So, like the same person is going in different vehicles. Similarly, one spirit soul may change to different bodies like that. That is what is being shown here with this picture. So, let me go to the next slide. Yeah. So, what is the benefit of having this knowledge of the soul? Why do we care? Why do you need to know that there is a soul like that? There are a few benefits that we'll discuss. One of them is uh, if you have an understanding that I'm a Hindu, I'm a Muslim, I'm Christian, I'm Indian, I'm American, like that, then that is a destination related to body. So then people will fight because of that. But then on the other hand, these are all the various ways we get divided. Religion, based on the race, based on rich versus poor, based on educated versus illiterate, based on beautiful versus ugly. Like that, these are all dividing us in the world. These are all based on the bodily consciousness. Designations based on the body that we have, gross body that we have. Opposite of this is the spiritual consciousness. Spiritual consciousness is, see how Europeans, Chinese people, white, probably Americans, black, everybody together. They live together. They see they came for a big retreat. Looks like, see all these flags that represent all the people from different flags, different countries came like that. One of the things is, remember when the ISKCON was celebrating 50 years few years ago. That time there was a big festival done in Calcutta. That time devotees from many countries came. So that was also like this. I don't know if the same shot or not, but that time also they actually, interestingly, they took permission from Narendra PM Modi, it seems, or Prime Minister Modi, it seems, because he had as a record, Guinness record, it seems, to assemble number of countries in one place. Like I forgot, 40, 50, whatever he had recorded, it seems, Guinness record, to assemble those so many countries in one place. So they took permission. Is it okay if we exceed that number and go more countries to invite for this event? Like that. And PM Modi gave the permission, it seems, to ISKCON. Then they proceed from that, it seems. So here is saying, for higher caste, knowing that their spirit souls not this body, people are getting together. Even in ISKCON, you can see people from different countries, different languages. They all get together. For what purpose? To serve God. Because they are that spiritual consciousness. I'm a spirit soul. I'm a part and parcel of God. I'm servant of God. That consciousness. That makes us together, not divide from each other like that. So this is one benefit. Universal brotherhood is one benefit of understanding that we are spirit soul. When we not only understanding theoretically, but practically acting that I'm a soul like that. Yeah, that realization will carry us to the right actions and right words also. So now second benefit of knowing that I'm a spirit soul is the right use of resources. The resources we have. So this guy on the left is trying to make money for himself only. He doesn't care about anybody else. He's making so much money, he's storing the money in the Swiss bank accounts and saving it for them for future, even though he may not even use it, but he's storing it. Whereas on the other side, this guy saw that a cow is suffering, he wants to feed the cow like that. That's the consciousness of spiritual consciousness. In fact, Bhagavad talks about Krishna talks about equanimity principle in Bhagavad. The principle is that a learned person sees a cow, brahmana, elephant, dog eater, everybody, chandala, everybody equally. Why? Because he's not seeing just the body, external body that's coming, that is seen with our eyes. He's also seeing that there's spirit, soul inside like that. So that gives them good qualities, like they don't consume everything, me consciousness. They consider that everything belongs to Supreme Lord. We all need to share like that. So they share with others also like that. So this is another verse, Bhagavad Gita 2.16. This is talking about the eternality of the soul. How soul doesn't change, but the living body where the soul exists in a body changes. So body is temporary, whereas spirit soul is eternal, like that. That is what is being shown here in this verse. So, so now there are a whole bunch of questions being asked here. Now we understood we are a soul, we are eternal. Now these are all questions are leading to next section for us. Basically, we reincarnate very slowly, or immediately we reincarnate to another body? Um, can animals also take human bodies? Can a human being can become an animal also? But why? Why does some cow can become an animal, human being? Why does a human being becomes an animal? And we keep on reincarnating like this in another body all the time, or there's a stop to it? Or some people say, some religions say, oh, you don't accept God, you'll go to eternally to be suffering in the hell like that. Or is there a possibility that we'll eternally enjoy in the heaven? So can we really have anything in our control to control which body we go into next life? Can we go to another planet also if you want to, another universe also? And what actions will play a role in getting a next body? So what is the role of, this is the key question. What is the relationship between karma and reincarnation? How karma is related to reincarnation? That's the point being shared. We discussed briefly about karma. Based on our actions, we determine the next birth along with unfulfilled desires we discussed, right? So now this is leading towards the karma discussion next. So here, soul leaves the body at the time of death and goes to next body. Nice animation. They're showing how soul is leaving from the body. Body is a dead man. Body is lying on the bed. The soul is living like that. So, yeah. So this is another verse, the same verse that we discussed earlier. That oh no, it's a different verse, right? Okay. The point of this verse is soul is eternal. So even if somebody dies now, they're leaving this body behind and going to another body again. So, so we should not lament for somebody dying while we are doing duty like that. Krishna is discussing with Arjuna in this principle. So basically, we should focus on eternal more than temporary things like that. That's the point. Okay. So we talked about universal brotherhood and right use of resources. We talked about, right? So now, on what basis is the soul awarded next body? Remember the whole bunch of questions in the previous slide? Many students find this intersection interesting about the karma. Hope you find it also. Let us see. So then, how do we get the next body? On what basis is awarded? There should be some science to it, right? It's not like, oh, he should become animal. Oh, he should become a bird. Not like that. There should be some science to it. That's what is being discussed by this verse. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajati ante kalevaram tam tam eveti kaunteya sattad bhava bhavitaham. So, I think this translation also is there in this slide. Yeah. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that means when he dies. O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So this is talking about what is my consciousness focused on at the time of death. What I remember, that state I'll get in the next life like that. So, but how do you get, what do you think about during the death time, at death time? That is dependent upon what all we thought about, what all we did in the right lifetime. Based on that, we'll develop attachment to something. And then what are we attached to, we'll remember at the time of death. That is the point. So we accept one body after quitting another, depending on these two factors we discussed. What are the unfulfilled desires in the mind, and then good or bad karma that we have done. What is the mind is like a repository of unfulfilled desires, thoughts, memories, experiences like that. Mind is like a storage in essence. So that's why, based on the desires and based on how much good karma we did, good actions we did, or bad actions we did, bad karma, we'll get into one of these bodies. So that's what is being shown here. Depending upon these factors, we might get to lion body, deer body, or rhinoceros body, or human male body, female human being like that. So this is important principle for us to learn. Now, this leads us to the topic of law of karma. So if you see the progression, we started with that we are eternal, we are spirit soul. We started there. We are not this body. And then we talked about how reincarnation happens. Then we started talking about uh, based on our desires, unfulfilled desires, and based on good or bad karma that we have done. Then we get a body accordingly, we discussed. Now, what is this law of karma? How does it work? We'll explore that into detail now. So, as you sow, so shall you reap. That means if you put a bean plant, you'll get a bean plant. If you put a peach plant, you'll get a peach plant, like that. So based on what we sow, we get accordingly something back. Similarly, every action has a we read this in our science classes. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. We hear, yeah, equal and corresponding reaction. It says instead of opposite here in this case. So now see karma. Is he thinking I'm enjoying? He just hit this fellow and it fell down. Now it's a domino effect. Ultimately, this will also fall on him basically. There is almost the very almost instant karma here. Depending upon how big is the cycle, it will take some time, potentially a few seconds. So the law of karma we'll discuss more. And then karma, the types of reactions. One is the instant karma. So what that means something you do, you get it back right away. And then there is delayed karma. Examples here are, for example, somebody is hitting someone then they will hit right back. The instant karma coming back. So, and here, delayed karma is we plant a tree for fruits. Let us say I plant a, I don't know which fruit is, it must be apple. This looks like apple or peaches or no, one of those two. So let us assume it's apple. So let us say I plant apples in the ground, apple seed in the ground. It will take several years before apple tree comes out and plant comes out and grows to a tree and flowers and it gives fruits like that. It takes so much time. That is the delayed aspect. Similarly, karma also works like that. Uh, so, especially human form, we are given some privilege. I don't know in this forum or other forum, we discussed about Spider-Man. Anybody knows this? One of the famous saying in the Spider-Man movie, something related to responsibility. Not heard? Yeah. So basically, in the Spider-Man movie, the one comes is with power comes responsibility, like that it says. Because Spider-Man has a lot of power, so he has to take responsibility also, like that. So it's saying in human form of life, we got developed intelligence. For what purpose? To discriminate and lead responsible lives. If we don't know what is good, what is bad, then we don't need to worry. But we know, we're supposed to know, we have the higher intelligence to learn them, then we follow them. So, but if one engages in sinful activities of basically eating, sleeping, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex, like that. So these are four pillars of sinful life. They're because they degrade us so much. For example, meat eating, not only it's harmful for physical body health and mental health, but it's also impactful because we cannot understand spiritual subject matter when we are eating meat regularly. Basically, as one aspect. Second aspect is we are getting karma for the eating of the meat. Third aspect is that uh, remember how it affects meat eating affects mind, because meat eating makes the mind dull, lazy, and also uh, when the animals are killed in the slaughterhouses in this country, for example, then they go through a lot of stress. They're not kept in hygienic conditions. They're not taken care of well. Uh, so they'll be in panic situation. So naturally, when we go through these negative emotions, those are stored in our body. So when we eat the meat of the dead body of that animals, then we also get those emotions, negative emotions. So that's why that is a meat eating drawback. Intoxication drawback, like drinks, alcohol, cigarettes, like that, all this being shown right here. So those are all intoxications. So why intoxication is bad? We know materially intoxication is bad because we forget how to be sane. We forget how to be nice. We forget we don't use our intelligence anymore properly, like that. So that's why materially is not good. And each of these things, I think there's the next slide I will tell about that. Each of these things violates one religious principle. For example, intoxication violates austerity principle. So like that, uh, intoxication, when you're intoxicated, first of all, we're trying to take spirituality to understand that we're a spirit soul, to understand that we're a servant of God. Already we forgot. That's why we're trying to remember that through bhakti, through devotion service. But with intoxication, we're forgetting everything more. So that's why it's not good spiritually also. Now, third aspect is gambling. Gambling is opposite to truth because gambling fuels greed. Because we get something, we want to get more, 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 like that. So gambling is also sinful life. And wherever gambling is there, usually other things follow also. Meat eating, intoxication, and illicit sex follows also. And then fourth pillar of sinful life is illicit sex. That means relationship outside marriage with others, like that. This guy, see, he's with his girlfriend or wife, but he's holding a hand of somebody else. So, that is the greed of illicit sex. That is the greed of lust. Lust and greed make people do things that they would not normally do also. So these are 4 pillars of sinful life that we need to avoid. This will help us in cultivating mode of goodness, because these are in mode of passion and mode of ignorance. Yeah. And mode of goodness is helpful for us to grow in bhakti, whereas passion and ignorance are not helpful for us to grow in bhakti. That's what this is showing. So devotees all, when we take initiation, initiation, I don't know, you heard the term initiation in ISKCON. When we take a shelter of a spiritual master, then that is called initiation. So that means from that day on, we take vows saying that I'm going to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamata every day. I'm going to follow 4 regulative principles. These are the ones. They're very, very important because they shape our consciousness. That is why those are the important vows to be taken. This is the austerity we follow in spiritual life, like that. So now, in one sense, this is a interesting conclusion for this section, which is, if you obey God's laws by following the principle of austerity, you see yoga is doing, and meditation with mantra japa, then sacrifice we were doing, reading scriptures and associate with saints. Then if we follow the God's laws by following these principles, then we can attain the spiritual world where there's no birth, no old age, no disease, no death. That means there's no four, the real problems of life are not there in the spiritual world. So that's what happens when you follow the laws of God. So if you obey the God's laws, this is a simple acronym the word is put in, association. That means we should meet and discuss and connect with like-minded people, devotees who are well-wishers, who are have positive thought process. They don't have negative emotions so much. So they speak from scripture. They guide based on scriptures. So that is the association, good association we need to have, each of us. I think you didn't come, you all didn't come for the Sunday program, right? Sunday evening program. This last Sunday, I took the program, I took the class. Then we talked about the importance of association. So the main, of course, that was almost 1 hour conversation, but I'll share a couple of things, few things. Each of us, when we're reading Srila Prabhupada's books, we're associating with Krishna, because Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, and we're associating with Prabhupada because we're reading the purport, which is realizations of pure devotee like Prabhupada. So every day we need to have that nourishing association of reading Srila Prabhupada books or hearing from Prabhupada or his disciples, like that. That is very important. And similarly, we need to have association of mentors who are little bit more advanced than us, who have seen who have practiced spiritual life a little bit more than us under the guidance of their mentor, like that. And then third level association is we need to have association of peers who are practicing devotion like us. So at the stage where we are, where others are practicing, it's good to associate. Then you can share notes. Uh, you can discuss about common problems that you have. If something can be done, like that. Association. Similarly, it's important to read wisdom books like scriptures like Bhagavad Gita as it is, or Srimad Bhagavatam every day. That will help us to strengthen the intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and then we can act properly. And then, of course, we know about chanting Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This we do every day without fail, like that. So you see A, B, C, D. D is the diet. Diet means before we eat anything, we offer it to Krishna and he accept it. Yeah. For you, because many of you are young students or young professionals who are with others, it may not be practical for you. For us, we offer everything we cook, we offer to Krishna and then accept it. For you, at least you can start with this thing, praying before eating. My dear Krishna, I'm not able to offer you proper offering, but please accept whatever we got here. Thank you. Kindly bless this food, like that. You can pray like that to Krishna. and then Krishna will accept, and then we can have that prasadam like that. It's about diet. And of course, we all know vegetarian diet is helpful in promoting mode of goodness and is very helpful for spiritual life. But more than vegetarian food, we offer the food to Lord and eat. That is the highest principle. Yeah. So then last thing is engagement. We all need to do service. In fact, one way to get out of bad habits and improve our focus and develop good habits is by regularly reading scriptures and by regularly doing services. That way, we can be grounded in the philosophy, and we'll also get purified through services also, especially service to other devotees. Let me see the time, 6:36. Okay, good. So now, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes lust, anger, and greed are the three gates to hell like that. So if somebody escapes them, lust, anger, and greed, then and he performs positive actions to go back to God, like acts of self-realization, then he will go to gradually to Krishna, the Supreme Lord, like that. Prabhupada is writing in Bhagavad Gita 16.22 translation. Oh, there is a sloka. Manupetya punarjanma dukkalayam asashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. The meaning, after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion, never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. So if somebody, a devotee, achieves the perfection through devotion, then they have to come back to temporary world. They don't come back to material world again, because they attain the highest perfection already. That's the point Krishna is describing. Now, so far, in a broad sense, we talked about the soul. In a broad sense, we talked about how to attain the Supreme Lord, how to take the proper association, read the proper books, properly chant regularly, eat a proper diet that is free from meat and all that, and then engage in practical service when an opportunity comes. We discuss that. Now the section transitions to mind your mind like that. Maybe we can pause here today. This is a new section. We'll continue next session with this on mind your mind. This will help us to understand how do we control the mind like that, so that way we can be focused. So that is what we'll discuss in next session. Yeah. Can we chant one round together? You're all comfortable chanting one round together?
हाँ Prabhuji.
Okay, sure. So let us chant then. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna,